Hi, bitch besties. It's your main bitch, Melly. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to another episode of the Judgy Bitch Pod. Hi, bitch besties. Welcome to a new episode of the Judgy Bitch Pod. I am so excited for today's episode. I can't even put it in words. I posted a whelp on TikTok and she came running. Bitch besties, meet Marissa. Welcome to the Judgy Bitch Pod.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so glad that you volunteered. This is
I'm just dying for someone to talk to about this.
I love it. This is the hottest topic of the season. There is so much content. We are going to have so much to talk about and to discuss. We're going to dive into all the nasty, dirty little secrets, all the details that this season of the Secret Lives of the Mormon Wives, or as I call them lovingly, the Mormon bitches.
Yeah, it's one way to put it.
Right? I mean, we're the bitch besties here, so that's why those are the Mormon bitches.
Here we go.
Marissa, there is so many questions. We might actually end up having to record 2 episodes. Are you okay with that?
I'm great.
Awesome. Bitch besties, grab a drink, buckle up. Here we go. Let's dive into it.
All
First
right.
of all, I have to say I'm so proud of myself that I know all their names. There's just so many of them and they all look the same.
They really do. I mean, especially like as the seasons have progressed, Jesse has obviously had work done, but I know when I first started Jesse and Demi, I'm like, you guys are the same person. I'm really
Same.
convinced of that.
Yeah. And then all the other blondes came, Miranda and so on. And I was like, what? Who?
It's really hard. It's really
It is.
hard.
It is really hard. Do you have a favorite?
Oh gosh. I mean, Miranda. Miranda's my queen.
Love it. You know who my favorite is? I think it changes each season,
For sure.
but this season I was really impressed by Whitney.
I I actually do. Yeah, I definitely love Whitney, and I know we're gonna get into that in a second. But Whitney and Miranda, Whitney's growth over the 4 seasons has been unbelievable. I actually have a weird trajectory with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives because I was like very anti. I'm not watching the show until like a couple months ago, and it was after Dancing with the Stars, and I didn't know anything, so I was Team Robert, but, I just on a whim one day was like, "I need a new show to kill time before March
Yeah,
Madness, and so let's start," and I became addicted.
I love that. I've been following them since they first released season 1. And you know, Whitney was Whitney the villain of that season?
For sure, for sure.
For sure, right? Yeah, I'm remembering that correctly. And yeah, so, I had to wait till the new season releases and you get all those social media posts and you kind of know what's going on, but you can't wait to actually see it. Plus, they filmed back to back. So the reunion was kind of shit. We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
And there's just so much happening. It's crazy.
It it's also hard. My one gripe with this show is the timeline of it because, like you just said, they film back to back to back, and then in the middle of the next season, they're filming the reunion, but, like, they're already so it is really hard to follow,
Yeah,
but it is amazing, and I would love for them to start filming again.
I agree with you. I agree. Um, I don't know how it happened, but somehow for me, Whitney and Jesse really became my favorites of the season. I don't know how. Last season, Jesse had the huge scandal, and I was like, questionable. She wasn't my favorite for sure. Whitney was the villain, as we said in season 1, but all of a sudden, this season turned everything around. Everything is different now.
It it was really bizarre, just like you said, it's a complete 180 for some of these characters. Now some remain the same, but Whitney's Whitney's total character arc has changed, and it's changed the game for me, and
Yeah,
I was rooting against her Jen too, but I was rooting against her in Dancing with the Stars.
yeah,
Now
that's funny.
maybe I would have wanted her to win, I don't know. Robert all the way.
That's funny. I was also watching Dancing with the Stars, and I think that's when I started liking Whitney. I think that's where she won me over a little bit. And at the end, I was actually rooting for her. But I also like Robert a lot. He was fantastic on it.
Yeah, as a kid growing up, like, loving Steve Irwin and then watching him grow up, and he's not terrible to look at, and,
Yeah.
you know, The accent is just incredible, but yeah, I mean, if Whitney would have won, I would have been okay.
Yeah. And we're going to dive in every single one of them in this episode. But is there one of them that sticks out to you that gives you an ick?
Dad talk.
Yes, we're going to talk about that too, for sure. There's lots we have to say about this. Bitch besties, we're going to say what y'all are thinking for real.
Yeah.
And
Dad talk needs to just go away.
I agree with you. Is there any of the ladies that you liked least?
I think it's probably obvious that it's Demi, but Jen and Demi are to me are the 2 worst ones.
I'm right there with you. I agree with you 100%. And any of the guys, let's not talk about character, just looks wise. Is anyone making you drool?
No.
No?
Yeah. Yes. Chase.
Yes.
Chase is definitely the hottest, but yeah, I mean, he's also not yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
I love it. Uh, and how do you feel about this all being this Mormon show? You know, it's sometimes I feel like they're not really talking lots about the religion itself. And then I'm surprised that next episode, all of a sudden, it does come through again. How do you feel about that?
I didn't know much about the Mormon religion
Hmm.
except what was in the Book of Mormon musical, which is
Hmm.
not all accurate. Well, I guess it is actually, but not really. Um, so yeah, I feel like season 1 was much more heavy-handed in we don't drink coffee, we don't drink
Yeah.
because we're Mormon, we don't which they do drink coffee, but I it was more of like a deep dive in season 1 about Mormonism, and then, like, eventually they talk a little bit like, "Oh, going to church here or temple here," and all these things, but I I don't think that it's I don't think any of them are overwhelmingly religious, and maybe there's definitely some more than others. I mean, Jessie refers to herself as an ex-Mormon, so,
Yeah.
but I do think it's weird and fascinating all at the same time.
Yeah.
The
And I
what
really think they should rename it to the Mormon bitches.
yeah, yeah, the secret your lives are absolutely not secret. Nothing
Exactly.
about it is a secret.
No, and that's what kinda drives me crazy a little bit, that obviously they became famous with that scandal, that swinging scandal, right? And that's probably where the title stems from, The Secret Lives, because there was this swinging behind closed doors. But we're so far from that, like, give it a new name.
Well, I will say I watched season 1, binged it in a day or so, and then, my husband was like, "That's a you show, I'm not watching that," and then maybe, like, the 2nd episode of season 2, he happened to catch, and he got addicted, and so he also is obsessed with it, and we just call it slow-mo.
Oh, okay. That's just the letters.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
close enough, but we just call it slow-mo. We're not like, they're not it's not a secret life anymore, and slow-mo kind of fits the profile for some of these
I
people.
love it. I love it. All right. As I mentioned, I'm a huge Whitney fan this season. But at first, when the season first started and she was coming back, and she did not keep it a secret that she's coming back for the opportunities that come along with that show. But then throughout this season, I felt like it changed a little bit and she was fully in with her full heart. And remember that scene where she broke down at the pumpkin patch with her husband? How do you feel about the whole Whitney thing?
Whitney is an interesting character because I admire the fact that she doesn't beat around the bush. I think her coming right out and saying, "Yeah, I am here because I want Dancing with the Stars. I am here because I want Chicago." Like she knows what she wants and she knows how to that being involved in the show, being involved with these women will help her get there and it obviously did. It obviously worked. But deep down I think she does care more than even I think she would want to or even admit to. But I also think she's probably one of the best people to have in your corner in that
Yeah.
group. She is the only one in what was that, season 1 when Jen was going through her prenatal depression. She was the only one who had Jen's back then,
Yeah.
at least openly.
Yeah.
So and people seem to forget that, especially this season, Jen versus Whitney.
Yeah.
So Whitney, I admire her for being just so blunt and honest, and
Mhm.
I think that's part of why I started to like her more and more.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think she outgrew that villain role and really grew into her character a little bit. Like she developed so much integrity, and I really like that. But then, as you just mentioned, the thing with Jen, let's talk about it this season. I mean, Whitney takes her and her entire family into that house in LA. They go together to Dancing with the Stars, and then Jen finds a way to hate on Whitney, like zero gratitude. What is your take on that?
I think the Afflecks in general are the absolute worst, and I
Mhm.
think if there is going to be a spinoff in LA revolving around them, I know I will not watch. And I'm sure a lot of people will feel the same way, but I've heard different things. I've heard, "Oh, yeah, we were only there for a day or a couple of hours. It was all for the show. We didn't live there."
Mhm.
But even if it wasn't, like, the way you treated her, whether or not she opened up her house to you to stay in, she was still open to, sharing an experience with you, and Jen was clearly, absolutely very jealous from the moment that they were both announced.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think Jen was announced first and then Whitney,
Yes. Mhm.
and I if I'm pretty confident when I went back and looked at it, like, you can just see it on Jen's face, and this was before, we watched season 4, so you didn't really even know all this, but you could see Jen's face was it definitely told a different story. Whitney was
Mhm.
obviously very excited, but Whitney was correct in the entire time saying, like, you don't get to own this dream. You aren't the only one that gets to be excited and is allowed to go on Dancing with the Stars. Everybody's allowed to. I mean, Whitney went to BYU for musical theater.
Yeah.
So, and she's good. She's extremely talented. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think Jen is clearly very, very jealous of Whitney, probably jealous of her relationship with
Mhm.
Connor, who is the best. And yeah, I think I think people are giving Jen too much credit right now.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I agree 100% with you. And what really icks me is last season, we kind of got a glimpse of Jen trying to produce Zach, and it gave like that problem that reality TV has these days that people have alternate motives and an agenda just for screen time and producing fake drama that's not real. And we got a glimpse of that. So in this season, I couldn't help but wonder, to quote Sarah Jessica Parker, Carrie Bradshaw. I couldn't help but wonder um, how much of the drama that Jen produced with Whitney was actually real. Like, I couldn't take it for face value because I was like, is she just trying to get screen time now and make sure she appears in the episodes for money? Or is she for real? Because everything she said was such bullshit. Sorry to say that, but I really envy Whitney for the way she talks and her arguments and the way she words things. And I'm not an original English speaker, as you may hear my accent. I'm from Germany, but I look up to people like Whitney. I want to be Whitney when I grow up. But then you see Jen come in with all this fake bullshit drama, and I'm like, shut the fuck up and sit down. Was that your take too?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think having Zach show up at the lunch that Jen called or whoever called it, doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
It was supposed to be a lunch or coffee or whatever with Jen and Whitney, and having Zach show up is just so beyond disrespectful, and
yeah,
whoever's idea it was a terrible idea. Now, yeah, it made for great television, but going beyond the drama of it and the actual, like, production of it, like, on a human level, that's shitty, and
yeah,
so don't do that, and you wanna be this victim all the time, Jen, and Whitney was literally the only one in your corner when you were going through your prenatal depression, and
Yeah.
so going from having that person be the only one in your corner to completely alienating them, and Whitney during the scene where when they're all getting ready to film the opening for the show, they're all in hair and makeup and
Yeah.
Whitney, like, losing her mind on Jen, and she was absolutely right. Nothing that she said in that scene was wrong.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. But I can't help but wonder if, you know, her and Zach making the plan, oh, if you show up for that coffee, that's going to make great TV and we get more screen time. And, how much of this is real? And if it's real, sorry, but you guys suck. Because who does that?
Well, I think either way they suck. I don't think it
Yeah.
yeah, I think clearly it was calculated, and whether it was a producer saying this'll be great and you're gonna get a great edit out of it or not, but not to, put the cart before the horse here, but when you think Bachelorette and you think the way some of these characters have been villainized and you have the hero edits and the villain edits and things like that in the past, like, that's calculated in some way, whether it's
Yeah.
by the producers and or the contestant, and so Jen isn't dumb. I mean, she knows what she wants. I mean, she just came out with an ad for dry shampoo that was clearly alluding to the fact that everybody is talking shit about her, and
Yeah.
it's like, "Know what you're doing."
Yeah.
I have no sympathy for you.
Yeah. I don't either. I do like that their relationship between Jen and Zach has evolved from last season where they had so much struggle and T wasn't really supportive of her postpartum. Yeah. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Yeah.
postpartum.
Postpartum depression. I liked more how they, communicate with each other in this season, but I didn't like their whole vibe towards the other couples and specifically towards Whitney. I did not like that at all. I did like very much though Connor, and I'm like, where do I find a Connor? I'm single. Send him over here.
Connor is my husband and I say it all the time, like, Connor is our king, and he's just, like, on TikTok right now doing random close-up magic tricks, and he's supporting Whitney from in New York. They've supposedly are selling their Utah house, like, looks like they're gonna make New York home, and she's selling out Chicago left and right. She's extending
Yeah,
her and he's just there to support her, take care of the kids, all the things, like, he's the best,
yeah,
and it doesn't hurt that he is one of the very few people on the show that has better political beliefs than some of the others.
I agree. 100%. And he's good looking too. He's
He's
not
so
necessarily
cute.
my type, but his character makes him my type. He's a walking green flag.
He's a walking green flag. I mean, I also saw somewhere someone saying that their relationship is so perfect because they're both gay. And so if that's true, I think that's hilarious and good for them.
I don't believe that, to be honest. I don't get any gay vibes from them at all.
I could see Connor. Not Whitney, but I could see Connor.
Let's shift a little bit and let's talk about Demi and Jesse. What's
Woof.
your thoughts? Are you still writing for Demi? Do you like her? Did you ever like her?
No, I never liked her, and I'm fine with her not being in it. One of my favorite moments from season 4 was when they would cut to an empty couch and ask Demi what she thought about whatever was happening, and she wasn't there. I can't stand her. I think she's completely fake. I had one moment in the entire 4 seasons where I actually felt a little bit of, like, sadness for her and whatever, and that was when she found out when they did the pregnancy test roulette, and she found out that 2 of that
Yeah.
Macy and Michaela were pregnant, and obviously going through her own infertility, and yeah, I could absolutely sympathize with that, but
Yes.
then, the next episode, I remembered that it was Demi, and I felt nothing again towards
Yeah.
her, but she her and Jesse have an interesting relationship, and Jesse's Jesse's episode on Call Her Daddy was interesting and because they
Mhm.
talked about it, and obviously, she says they could be cordial and everything, but Demi is, like, just the absolute worst.
Yeah.
I don't think she has a single redeeming quality.
I also think Demi made up the drama with, whatever his name is,
Oh,
just
Marciano.
Marciano, because she is so jealous of Jesse and she wants to be Jesse so badly. And that's why she made up this whole drama to take Jesse down. And I don't know, it backfired on her a million times.
I don't think she made it up. I mean, Jessie has admitted many, many times that she had an emotional affair, which I think is a kind of a bullshit term, but she had an emotional affair with Marciano and she kissed him twice. Okay. And like,
Yeah.
you did that, fine. You're owning up to it. All those things. Demi clearly had something going on with him. I think she wanted him more than Jesse wanted him. I don't really know why. And I like was just a very confusing stretch of content because it wasn't a big deal that Demi clearly was making a big deal for cameras. That
Yeah.
I think was completely calculated. And I think to to me, that one scene I can't ever forget where they're at I forget what event, and they're yelling at each other from across the room, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "This is just like you guys are also at the end of the day grown adults. Like,
Yes.
just talk."
Sometimes. Let's try to act like an adult sometimes.
And also, as an adult, you don't have to be 100% honest with every single person every single moment of the day.
Yeah.
95% of the drama on this show could be avoided if people just didn't tell people everything.
But those are the moments where I think, how much do the producers, tell them you have to address this right now?
100%.
Because that's not real life. That seems very, like, I don't know.
No, I mean, it's just like you don't have to it's like, "I know something about you that's going to destroy you, but I can't tell you. But
Yeah.
I know you want me to tell you, so I'm going to tell you even though I shouldn't."
It's such high school drama.
Such high school drama.
Yeah. How did you feel when at the beginning of this season, Jesse wanted to give Demi another chance?
I mean, I was fine with it because it was her thing. She was clearly the one who was wronged. I thought, a tiger doesn't change his stripes, so I don't
Mhm.
think it's gonna work, and it obviously well, I guess it kinda did. They did kind of make up. Um, they had that moment, like, in the park with Jesse's kids, but
Mhm.
she can't trust me, so you could be cordial, you can, kind of smooth things over for the group of mom talk, but, like, I wouldn't I would if that were me, I would try to make things not awkward, and then so that it wasn't awkward for the group, and then I just wouldn't trust her. What did you
Yeah.
think about that, though? Because I am interested in other people's thoughts on that.
I honestly, after the entire last season, felt like Demi was trying so hard to make Jesse look bad and make it more than it actually was. Like she continuously appeared to be saying in the background somewhere, no, they had sex with each other. And I don't, this was this whole drama of last season. I don't remember if Demi actually said it in front of the camera or if it was always said that Demi or Demi, whatever, said that. But it was her meddling in the background somehow and always creating more drama than there actually was. If I were Jessie, I would not take her back as my friend. Being cordial, sure. Say across the room, hi, how are you? Fine. But I would leave it there. I would never let her back into my life.
I also just, like, knowing that how calculated she could be, allow it I don't have kids, but I can't imagine letting somebody like that around my kids.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially you don't know how that conversation's going to go, right? Is she going to yell at you in front of your children? I would not allow that either, you know?
I'm a big fan in life of when you find out that there's a toxic friendship or relationship or whatever, just, like, completely cutting it out, protecting your own peace, and
Yeah.
so, I think Jesse didn't do that. I would have definitely kept them at a
Yeah.
arm's length a little bit more, but
I do too. I learned that later in life though, snippety snip snip, right? Off you go. But I want to
Sure.
sympathize with Jessie a little bit because she, at the same time, is going through this abusive marriage, which she talked a lot on the Call Her Daddy podcast, and I appreciated her honesty on that. Honesty. It's Friday afternoon. I can freaking talk.
It's
But
been a
you know,
long week, especially
yeah,
in talk.
yes. But I do want to cut her some slack for this because I think when she's dealing with something like this at home, behind the scenes, in front of the camera and everything, you can only fight so many fights. So maybe for her, it was the easier way to go to say, okay, Demi, whatever. I don't have the energy to fight with you right now and to set my boundaries with you right now because I'm doing that at home every single day. So maybe that's also part of it.
Yeah, and I think, like, knowing that she's married to this terrible man and who has 0 redeeming qualities, and she's the breadwinner, he's contributing nothing to that relationship, she's just looking for a little bit of something from the other side, and if Demi can give that to her, then great.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you feel about the singing scene, Demi and her husband?
It's one of my favorite things that has ever happened. I want that to drop on Apple Music today, and I would listen to it all the time, but I don't want, like, the edited version of it. I want the version where she's like, "No, Brett, you're too flat. No, no, is it too high for you?" And they're in the car. I mean, I don't know whose idea that was, but thank you.
I just thought it's hilarious. I couldn't laugh any louder than I did in that scene, especially with her not showing up to the confessionals and the interviews, but then she gets a whole scene with her husband playing Titanic in front of cameras. I was like, what's going on here?
It was it was so cringy. It was amazing. It gave such stepbrother vibes, like, when they're in the car singing, "Sweet Child of Mine." I really
Yeah,
was like, "Wait a minute, this has to have some correlation."
yeah. But to be honest with you, and I have to be a really judgy bitch right now, her singing didn't strike me as like a professional singer necessarily, but she was like correcting him left and right. And even later in the car, she was so full of herself. I'm like, girl, you need a mirror. What's
Yeah,
happening?
she was absolutely the one that was flat, by the way.
Exactly.
And also, I don't know anybody in the world that's like, "Good morning, I'm gonna go record a single today, and it's gonna be a song from the '80s," or whatever. Like, what? What are we doing? Like, and it doesn't help that her husband's, like, 1,000 years older than her, and, like, he just is, like, along for the ride, but he also looks like the 4th member of 98 Degrees, and so maybe she wanted a little bit of, like, "Hey, we look like he looks like a Lachey, let's get a single cut, and let's make some money." No. And also, speaking of money, Demi going off about Jesse wanting Jesse off the show because she wanted more money or all that, like the contract negotiations and stuff, and then eventually goes off the show as sort of herself, like, hilarious.
I know this girl has balls.
She's so stupid.
I agree. I can't, I don't know. I can't stand her. Like sometimes I feel sorry for her just because she's digging herself in such a deep hole. Then I feel sorry for her, but it's her own fault. And I'm like, no, she doesn't deserve for me to feel sorry for her.
I don't remember how old this was, but I remember she was on Nick Viall's podcast,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Everything you're saying is just such bullshit. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Why are we giving you a platform?"
Yeah. Do you think Jessie has redeemed herself after the affair last season?
Yeah, because I also thought mistakes happen, and was it good? No. I mean,
Yeah.
but it also, like, wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't like she had this ongoing affair. It wasn't like she was, she was leaving her husband and kids to go sleep with Marciano. Like, it
Yeah.
happened, she ended it. Should she have, like, ended communication with him sooner? Probably. But, like, you you admitted it. You apologized. You offered to go to therapy. You did all that. So, yeah, I never looked at her any differently for the Marciano emotional affair, but I know people did. To me, I just thought it was like, whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I honestly give her so much credit how she navigated the whole marriage with this abusive guy. What's his name?
Jordan.
Jordan. Thank you. I've been through an abusive marriage, so I can really relate to her. I don't have any children, and she is also balancing her business and the children, everything. But I really give her credit. I feel like she has so much emotional intelligence, which I believe comes from a lot of therapy she's been through, really
Yeah.
working hard on herself and really learning. And the way she navigated and communicated with them and like really set boundaries and no, I want a break. No, I want this right now. And I really liked how she navigated it and also how it was portrayed on the show.
And kind of fast forwarding to like literally this week when she announces that she's going to leave him officially, divorce
Yeah,
him, and then he runs to TMZ to get it done before she does, and then tries to get a temporary restraining order to prevent her from going on Call Her Daddy. Like, he was trying to do everything he could to manipulate her
yeah,
even more than he did, and then she went into that and was talking about, like, he's tried to manipulate the courts about custody and whether or not the alimony and the child support, like all that stuff, which will eventually get figured out. But he literally did nothing in that marriage.
yeah. And I like what she said on the Call Her Daddy podcast that because I was wondering about that. I like that she addressed it, that she's not living in the house right now. He is because she's afraid that he might have cameras everywhere that she's not aware of. Like, what a shithole of a person is he? I'm so glad she's getting out.
I mean, it's kind of one of those things that for 4 seasons, everybody's like, "Just leave him," and you never know, like, truly what's happening behind closed doors, and you
Yeah,
knew that it was clearly building up, so I'm glad that it finally is happening, but yeah, how awful of a life is it that you can't be in your house because you're afraid of secret cameras?
yeah.
And he
Crazy.
would too.
Yeah. Uh, and then let's talk about dad talk later. Let's just talk about him. His influence on the dads, and he's such a I don't know if he's a narcissist or what his mental disorder is, but he is such a manipulative guy with so much negative energy, but somehow he seems to be, in quotes, a leader, and that's why the others follow him, or want to be like him, or I don't know what the dynamic is, but Jordan himself, like he needs so much work. He is a piece of work.
Well, he has basically said that he is to dad talk what Taylor is to mom talk. But first of all, dad talk is not a thing. No one
Yeah,
wants it. It's not a thing. It started off like Jesse said, it started off as like a joke that he just clearly felt like he needed something and he's trying to take it from her. Another case of like that narcissism. But yeah, I think the only dad other than Jordan that is, like, trying to be like Jordan and follow him around, no surprise, is Dakota. Everybody else is friendly with him and whatever, but they're kinda doing their own thing.
that's true. But sometimes I wonder what's Michaela's husband, if he
Jace.
also what's his name?
Jace.
Jace, thank you. If he also wants to play in the big boy club, the narcissistic boys club or whatever they are.
Well, he also has his stuff, like, he clearly groomed Michaela. He got her pregnant when she was 16,
Yeah,
and, like and I'm sure we're gonna talk about it later, but Jace getting mad at Michaela for Michaela having intimacy issues after being SA'd as a child and then groomed as a teenager, and him not understanding that she's gonna have those intimacy issues says everything you need to know about that person.
yeah.
Whereas Connor is that walking green flag, Jordan and Dakota and Jace are walking red flags.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can go ahead and talk about Michaela and her story. The first few episodes of this season, I thought, oh my God, they're focusing so much on the main couples. They don't barely show anything about the others. But then in the later seasons, they really highlighted Michaela and everything she's going through. What's your take on that? How do you feel about Michaela?
I love Michaela. Michaela has also had a little bit of a redemption arc with me. I thought she was kind of annoying in the first couple of seasons.
Hmm.
And then obviously her it was always Michaela versus Whitney and that kind of battle. Then it came out that I don't know if that was I think it was the season 3 reunion where it came out that while we knew that she was SA'd as a kid, Connor was essayed. They had that moment of like, okay, we've been through this together. As someone who has been essayed, like that made me feel so it made me feel differently towards Michaela. And
Mm,
then
yeah.
you learn more, like she has this autoimmune disease that clearly flares up when there's stress and anxiety and all PTSD. And so she's all these skin issues and different things like that. And then she and Whitney come back together and they have like a really like beautiful blossoming friendship.
Hmm.
Um, I love that. But yeah, I think them focusing on the other couples while Michaela was clearly trying to work on stuff. I just don't think Jace gets it. But then you have all these reports where Michaela has left Jace. Then they're separated. They separate in the show. And then it came out that there was like mold in her house. And so she moved temporarily to LA. She
Mm,
moved with the kids and without him. But then uh, she posts that Taco Bell TikTok where everybody's making fun of not Michaela from Secret Lives, Michaela from TikTok, the influencer, the makeup influencer, who was like, "You're gonna want to sit down for this. I'm getting a divorce. Let it sink in." And so she posted that TikTok while eating Taco Bell, and Jace is like walking behind her, and I was like, maybe you are working on it. Maybe he is growing. Maybe you guys are going to therapy. I'll be happy about that, but it's also weird. You just get that like ick feeling about it
yeah.
because you know that she was a literal child and it likely wasn't the first time they had sex. And so, how long were they together? He was 21, she was 16 when they got pregnant. So, like,
Yeah.
that just gives me that weird ick.
Yeah. But it's hard to judge somebody in this way, but I'm still going to say, because I'm the judgy bitch over here, but I was really questioning why they had this last baby.
Oh, 100 I mean, I said that about Taylor, I said that about
Yeah.
Michaela. Like, what are you doing? You guys have so much work to do on yourselves. You have 1,000 other children. I know that's,
Yeah.
like, the Mormon way, but, like, just don't.
Yeah. I agree. And it almost feels like, and obviously I don't know anything about how it is behind closed doors for them, but from my point of view, it almost feels like a baby using as a band-aid to fix a relationship and that never works.
100%. I feel like a lot of people do that in life, but
Mhm.
definitely reality TV. But yeah, Jen too. Jen had the last
Yeah.
baby. She was, like, so upset when she got pregnant. They could barely take care of themselves, let alone the 2 babies they already had. Like,
Yeah.
you then don't do that. Figure out a
Right.
way to have birth control or a condom or pull out or just don't.
Yeah. Or
I know
just
that they
don't,
would never have an abortion.
yeah. Don't spray and pray. That doesn't work.
My god. I just
Yeah.
don't understand, like, ah, these women are these women are smart in ways because they're capitalizing on their popularity, they're capitalizing on their hilarious lives of, like, being Mormon and doing these things and, like, but also they're so stupid in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I really, really enjoyed with Michaela this season is her friendship with Macy. I love them two together.
Eminem Incorporated. I love them. I mean, I love Macy too. I think Macy is also one of the really underrated characters of the show because she's so level-headed.
Mhm.
Michaela can get fiery, Michaela can get pissed off, and so can Macy, but she doesn't necessarily, like she doesn't have those peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
She's just always level-headed, and she seems she honestly seems like the mom of the group.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, I wonder if Michaela is so up and down because of the shit she's going through at home. I always want to give them a little slack for what they have to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not just the 2 of them, but, like, I think most of the people in the show do have that big up and down, those big swings, but Macy is always the one that's pretty steady.
Yeah. There was a scene with Macy and her husband, and now it slipped my mind what it was about. Do you remember which one I'm talking about? Where I was also like, is Macy having struggles at home as well?
There was one moment where he was going to Vanderpump. There
That's
was a
right. That's
moment
what it was.
Yeah, there was a moment where all the guys were going to Vanderpump, and then they decided that they weren't gonna tell the girls what happened, and Macy asked, and he said, "Well, Jordan," like, something about Jordan said not to tell anybody, and they were like, "Okay, and? Like, what is okay. So, you're not gonna tell us what happened? Like, we're not saying anything bad happened, but, like, why are you being so shady about it?"
Yeah. That's exactly the scene that I was referring to. That I don't know, that was a weird scene. I feel like it didn't fit in that moment, or maybe I didn't pay attention. I don't know, but I was like, "What's going on? This is weird."
Yeah, I feel like Jacob is usually pretty good. I think that he's more on, like, the Connor side
Yeah,
than the Jordan or Dakota side, but that was weird to me. I was like, "Jacob, you're better than that. You
yeah,
just be open and honest with your wife."
yeah, and that's
Try
why
to
I was wondering earlier if that's the influence from Jordan, if he's such a leader and quote unquote that he has an influence on even like Macy's husband, who is usually level-headed, but all of a sudden they get to him somehow because they're so manipulative. They're such good narcissists.
Yeah. I that one I don't know. I just think it's weird. Like, it was just a really weird scene. It seemed like they ended up getting through it, and I know
Yeah,
that he's been super supportive with her book and everything, but
yeah,
that was, like, a really weird episode or 2 where I was like,
yeah,
"Ugh, ugh,
yeah. And let's talk about her book for a second. I haven't read it yet. I haven't had a chance yet. I do want to read it though. I'm,
mm."
if I may say so, I feel proud of her for writing it and for putting herself out there and for addressing those topics. But I didn't like how they scrutinized Whitney for not showing up to the one event when Britney was Dancing with the Stars, and she was already flying back and forth to support Ma'am Talk. Ma'am Talk. I can't really can talk. Send help. Mom Talk. What was your take on this whole scene where they scrutinized Whitney so much about the book event that Macy had?
Yeah. That was that was interesting to me because it's happened before, right? With
Mhm.
Whitney.
Yeah,
So Whitney will always prioritize herself and her family over mom talk, over the girls. And so knowing that, I understand. But I thought it was, especially in the early seasons, and Macy, Whitney and Macy were the 2 best friends.
mhm,
Whitney and Macy were what Macy and Michaela are now. And so if you're considering, "Hey, this is my A1 from day 1, I'm gonna be there no matter what," and then you just, like, stop, I definitely see why the girls were upset with her, and then because Whitney did work really hard on cultivating those relationships again and getting back with the girls to only not do that again or do that
yeah,
again, and it's like, what have we done? What are we learning? And so I I I I just thought that was interesting. I mean, I thought it was more of a big deal, and she talked about it on Call Her Daddy, but when Jesse offered to throw the party for Macy's book, but then ended up picking the Unwell event,
yeah,
which they ended up being able to do both or whatever, but, like, at that one I thought was a little bit more of a big deal because whereas Whitney probably was like, I'll try and be there, and I'm traveling out of state to be there, but I'll do my best," versus, "Jesse, you live right here. You already
yeah,
committed."
yeah. See, for me, if I were Macy, I would have been more upset with Jesse than with Whitney, but I don't know what the communication between them was like. But when Whitney broke down at this pumpkin patch to Connor, and you could really tell she's close to being burned out because they have those extensive trainings for Dancing with the Stars. She's trying to juggle her personal life. She was already flying back and forth for whatever events that I don't know right now. Like I understood why she had to skip this one because she just couldn't. She was at the end of her rope energy wise. So I understood that personally, and that's why I didn't like how they scrutinized her for that. And they made it sound like, yeah, that's always her. And maybe it was her old pattern to always skip events to support the others. But in this a specific moment, I really felt for Whitney more so than for Macy. And I didn't like how the girls were bitchy about it.
I agree. I actually that's a really great point. I think I say this a lot when I rewatch Seinfeld or any of those shows where I'm like, a little bit of communication or in Seinfeld's case, like, if you just had a cell phone and called somebody, like,
Yeah.
none of these issues would happen. And I don't I think that there's a clear lack of communication because if Whitney would have if it were me, if I were Macy and Whitney said, "Look, I'm so sorry. This is what I'm doing. This is my schedule. I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it." Would I feel sad for a little bit? Yeah, probably, because that's my friend who promised me, but I would get over it very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas a total betrayal on Jesse's part, and yes, they made up and whatever, but a total betrayal of, "I'm doing this for you. Just kidding, I'm gonna do it for this other company." That's where you're right. Like, I think you have to give Whitney the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah. And I mean, it's Macy's fault a little bit for not communicating well with Jesse when this whole thing happened. And then finally they played this round of honest box or whatever they call it. And she finally had to address it. And I really liked Jesse's reaction to it. And she was like, oh, I didn't know. Well, sorry, Jesse, but you should have thought about it a little more. But at least in that moment, she was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Of course, I'm coming. I like that, she took accountability and she changed her mind in that situation. And I forgot where I was going with this, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think honestly, anytime these girls play Truth Box, I'm like, "Oh, shit. What's gonna happen now?" Like,
Yeah,
it nothing good ever comes of it. That was good because the question that was asked there was, "How do you feel that Jesse chose Unwell over your book signing event?" And it forced Macy to have
yeah,
to communicate and say, "Well, it made me feel like shit." And that's when Jesse, who had not been communicated with, was like, "Oh my god, we never talked about it. Like, I didn't even, I don't know if I was happening or any of that kind of stuff, but like had there been like any ounce of communication, it would have been totally fine."
yeah. Which Macy's husband had told Macy, you have to communicate, and she just didn't, which I relate to because I avoid conflict like the plague. Like, I get it.
But I don't even think that's a conflict. That's just saying, "Hey, thank you so much for offering to throw my book party. Are you good? Are you sure you're good for this day? This is sort of what I'm thinking." It's like, had that even happened, then there would be no conflict.
And let's talk a little bit about Layla. Layla, is that her name?
Yeah,
Lila? Layla or Lila?
Layla.
Layla. She wasn't portrayed much in this season until the very end when she opened up about her eating disorder. How did
Mhm.
you feel about that?
Wow, Layla's storyline is crazy. Layla's the youngest and
Mhm,
a Mormon convert,
mhm.
and I did a deep dive on her because I found her fascinating. So she
Nice. Give us the
converted
tea.
Yeah. So she converted to Mormonism because and she talked about this, but, like, all of her friends in Utah were Mormon, and so she felt as a half black I think she's half black,
Yeah.
or as a person of color, she didn't feel like she had a place, and she felt called to become Mormon and found her place there. So I think out of everybody, she's probably the most Mormon. Um, but and then Layla is married, has never had an orgasm because that was
Hmm.
the early seasons. And
Hmm.
then, like, we go through that whole thing. So you have, like, all these mom talk, and yes, she's a mom, but, like, you had the rest of mom talk, like, helping baby Layla, like, feel things, and then you see her grow, and then you find out, okay, after her husband, she dated Chase for a second,
Hmm.
which, like, okay. Then she stopped dating Chase and dated Chase's brother, Mason,
Hmm.
which I have thoughts on, and then, like, first of all, are there only 10 men in Utah? Why are we all
Apparently,
dating the same person?
apparently, the pool
Like
of men is very small there.
my god, guys, like, branch out, use Tinder, like, anything, because stop going with the same guys that everybody else is,
Yeah.
but that was weird, but the eating disorder part of her, which you could see, and you could honestly, I mean, I could at least, I could see her getting thinner and thinner and worse and
Yes.
worse. And as
But
someone who is on a GLP-1 and I've lost over 110 pounds
oh
in,
wow,
like,
congrats.
things, they are life-changing.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be used when you're 100 pounds. Like,
Right. But honestly, she doesn't seem to be the only one, right? There's others that look very skinny. And I know that's pretty much a taboo topic. You're not supposed to comment on somebody's looks and blah, blah, blah. But I am concerned for some of them.
who I mean, th everybody on that show is very thin, and I know Whitney, I mean, she's talked about it. She's on a GLP-1, she's on semaglutide, and you could tell because she definitely struggled with the baby weight from Billy and to now, but it also, I'm not sure if she's still on it, but
Yeah.
it also helps that she's dancing up a storm for Dancing with the Stars. She's freaking Roxy Hart in Broadway, like, so
Yeah.
she's working out, so I'm not sure if she's still on it. Um, and, like, the best part, because I 'cause I'm on the same one, I'm on semaglutide, which is what Whitney was on, like, it just makes you not hungry, and if you are hungry, it makes you get full really fast, which is, like,
Yeah.
how, but, like, with Layla, you are literally 100 pounds,
Yeah.
and using it to get below 100 pounds.
Hmm.
So that's when it gets really scary, and she's so thin, I mean, she's almost see-through,
Yes.
so it's really hard to watch, but I know she's getting help, and I know um, she's not on them anymore, so that's great,
Yeah.
but it y it was hard to watch.
It was
It really
really hard.
watch.
Yeah. I I did like though that they make it a topic in the show because it's not talked about it anymore as much as it used to be back in the 90s or so. So I like that they addressed it and I really appreciated her honesty about it. But I felt like it was so hard to watch. I just wanted to give her a hug because it almost seems like a struggle, like an addiction for her. Like it's
Oh,
almost an addiction for her and she was crying, and I really just wanted to hug her and help her in some way or shape or form.
yeah, and I mean, she just put out a video where she got signed by an agency and but has to, I mean, according to the agency, has to put on weight because while she's either like a double zero or a zero, I think she said zero, the models from this agency are a 2 and a 4. So she has to put on weight to get to those sizes, which is great. But that's also going to mess with your brain. Like so she needs to get the actual help on that part of it
Yeah,
because it's really yeah, you can put on weight as much as anybody else, but, like, you gotta get that mental stuff figured out.
yeah, absolutely, and I hope she gets help and she will be better, and it was really hard to watch, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But let's talk about her dating history. You said you have thoughts. Share them with us.
Yeah, my thoughts are, like, why? Why are we dating the same men? Why are we so infatuated with Chase and his family? Now, I mean, I said at the beginning, I love Chase, but, like, not enough that he's gonna have his sample of the entire group. I mean, and then Mason is not much better. Mason is just like a dumb version of Chase with long hair.
Yes.
Uh, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Can we not find somebody else outside of the group?
Yeah, I
She
agree
did
with you.
meeting that, like, soccer player or I think he was a soccer player, and, like, that just, like, randomly ended. We never really heard anything about that, and then she got with Chase, and then which also people just gloss over. Like, Miranda just finds out that Jesse and Chase made out, like, within the last week or so, and Miranda's upset, Jesse's sending her flowers. Why like, nothing happened when Layla did it.
Wait, and Taylor also went on a date or a coffee meetup with him.
Yeah. They went on a coffee date, which whatever, but also they were swinging, so it's like they already have the history. Like, nothing about that part makes sense to me because that's a complete double standard. Jessie's
Yeah,
dealing with a bunch of stuff, she's clearly going through it, and not that Layla isn't, because she is, but, like, why are we mad at Jessie and we're not mad at Layla? I might be
right.
missing something.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. And, I'm always surprised when they say that Layla has children. I'm like, "What?" She seems like I'm sorry to say that, but she seems so young to me, like a teenager almost sometimes. And
She
now
is young.
how old is she? She's like early 20s or something, right? She's not that old.
She said she had never heard the song True Colors.
Right? Oh my god, I can't.
Let's see. She's 25. She was born March 12th of 2001, so she just turned 25.
Crazy. Yeah. That always like every single time they mention that on the show, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, right." I keep forgetting that because she just doesn't strike me like it's so mean to
She's
say, but she
mom.
doesn't strike me as a mom or as an adult yet, like,
No, she's so sweet, but I'm like,
Yeah,
"You're 12 years old."
yeah. And I really liked in last season, they highlighted the issues with her hair and that
Mhm.
she didn't wanna speak up to Jessie. I like that. She is so sweet. I really, really like her. I really enjoy her. It just I feel like she's so young. She still has a lot of growing to do, work on herself, and really grow into her own personality a little bit. That makes sense.
I totally forgot about that. That was so moving in a way that I didn't expect because I mean, you look at Jay-Z Styles and it's all white girls. And yes, she is definitely in the minority in Utah. But
Yeah,
if they're not doing if Jay-Z or whoever was not doing something that they needed to do and she was the first one in the entire group in the history of the show that didn't want to say something and ended up not saying something at the risk of hurting somebody's feelings.
yeah,
And then she ended up talking about it and it was totally fine, but, like, she was been the like I said, we don't have to say everything that's on our minds. She just
yeah,
went and got it taken care of, and until Jesse brought it up, she was not gonna bring it up at risk of hurting her friend.
yeah.
So that
But
showed emotional intelligence to me.
100%, 100%. And now that I think about it, she's so young and she's not highlighted a lot. She always has like those side highlights a little bit, but every time she does have an highlight, it's those deep topics, really controversial, hard to talk about topics like race or like eating disorders now in this season. And that takes some guts now that I think about it, actually.
And she's the only one that's really aside from, like, love lives, the only one that seems to be dealing with any sort of, like, rejection. I mean, she got rejected from that modeling agency in New York,
Hmm.
and that was a big topic in this season, and whereas everybody else Jesse's running Jay-Z, which is super, impressive, and it's, like, such a big deal, and Taylor gets The Bachelorette, and Macy has her book, and all these things, so, like, everybody's doing really well outside of Mom Talk, let alone Whitney, and so then you have Layla, who is the only Black member and is the only one dealing with getting a no.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. I agree with you. Let's talk about your favorite of this season a little bit, Miranda. What's your thoughts on Miranda?
Queen Miranda, she's the best. She is the only one that is openly a Democrat, along with her and Chase. She is absolutely the most mature and emotionally intelligent one of the bunch.
Mhm.
I love her relationship with Chase as a ex-spouse co-parent. You can tell that they clearly get along with each other and they're able to, like,
Yeah.
joke with each other, but also that they have that mutual respect for
Yeah.
one um, and I I love her. She can do no wrong. Now, I think it was in, like, the last I know we're gonna talk about Taylor and Dakota in a little bit, but once everything started coming out with her friend Shania and
Yeah.
how Dakota got with Shania and, like,
Yeah.
Taylor losing her mind and kind of sort of blaming Miranda, I was not a fan of that because that Miranda doesn't have anything to do with it, and you can't give a friend an ultimatum. You guys were friends way before any of this. You guys were the ones who unintentionally got Mom Talk up and running with the swinging scandal. You've been through a lot. You mended your friendship. You're back. Now you're gonna give her an ultimatum for some other friend who,
Yeah.
like, you don't even know. So I will forever be on Team Miranda.
Yeah. I like Miranda a lot too. At the beginning of the season, I wrote down on my question list, would you like them to highlight Miranda more? Because she was so much in the background. But then luckily that changed as the season continued and they showed a little bit of her co-parenting with Chase. Because at the beginning I wrote down, would you like them to show more of the co-parenting of her and Chase? But luckily they got to that a little bit. I would like to see more of that.
Yeah, I mean, I was joking about it with one of my friends, and I was like, "I'm kind of rooting for them to get back together," but I'm actually not. Like, I think they clearly aren't married for a reason. There
Mhm.
something about that was not compatible, but it's working right now. It's working as co-parents with that, mutual respect, and they're clearly friends above everything
Yeah.
else, and that's what a lot of people lack with an ex is we weren't friends, we just started dating and then, "Oh, let's stay friends," and it just doesn't work. But clearly with them, it is, and which I guess is good because, she also has Mason involved with Layla, and so, like, there's a lot of family ties going on, but I I just think that she should be the leader because she's between her and Whitney, I think, are the most mature.
I
That's not
agree.
like, I'm not saying that in a bad way to anybody else, saying that they're not. I just think that they're, like, the most leaders. They're the best leaders. They're the most mature. They're the calmest. Macy too.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't even know. Is Miranda in a relationship right now?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah, I
think
don't
so.
know either. But because you said you sometimes wished a little bit that she would get back with Chase, I disagree with that. I mean, yes, they have a good dynamic, but for the fact that he is dating all her girlfriends, I
Yep.
say absolutely no. That's such a red flag. He has no respect for her in that sense. I'm glad they make it work on a friendship level to co-parent together, but I'm sure if she sat down and thought about him, she would actually get the ick from him just
Oh, yeah.
because he has no respect for her.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly a playboy. I only say that because I think that their relationship, watching them co-parent and watching them on TikTok together, like, it's funny and it's entertaining and, you're like, "Oh, they're so cute. They're just such good friends," and whatever. But no, I mean, yes, you are correct on the fact that he would give any sane person an ick, and also just, like, Chase, keep it in your pants, dude. Like,
I know,
stop
right?
and I'm not saying you can't date, but, like, go outside this circle. What are we doing?
Yeah, well, all of them. But I always say he must have good dick, and that's why he gets wrong.
I mean, honestly, I thought about that too, because 'cause I'm like, he was swinging. It's
Yeah,
probably been out there.
Yeah. And there must be something in the water in Utah. They are all horny as fuck, That's why.
Well, they can't have any fun. They can't drink. They don't. They, according to the Book of Mormon, they can't drink anything hot. So no coffee, tea, hot chocolate, anything like that. But then they're not supposed to drink coffee, but like they'll drink iced coffee. But then the dirty soda thing is weird to me. And
Yeah.
like they don't have much else to do out there. So I get why they're horny.
But they have a million kids. I don't have children, but if I had a million kids, the last thing I would want to do is have sex, to be honest.
But also, like, none of them take I mean, they rarely take care of them.
That's
Like, you
true.
never some of them you never even see. Like, I forgot that Layla had 2 kids and,
I
like
always forget that she has kids.
and,
But
like,
they could also
never
have
see
to
their
do
faces.
that also could have to do with the agreements that they just agreed to not show them on camera or something.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm all for that, but I mean,
Yeah.
you just never see these kids, although I did see somebody that was making fun of the way that they all hold the babies.
Oh my
'Cause they're,
God.
like, holding a baby and he's, like, hanging here and, like, they're holding him in, like, these crazy ways. I'm like, again, I don't have kids, but, like, I hold my dog more secure than they hold their babies.
First of all, I love that you're a dog mom. Me too. Peanut is right there. He's my co-pilot on those episodes. But aw. But, it's funny that you bring that up about holding the babies, because I was gonna mention that, and then I kinda got too shy a little bit because I'm not a mom, so I was like, "Who am I to judge?" But honestly, the way they're holding the babies, I was concerned for those babies sometimes. Like, the head is, like, dangling on the back, and even me as a not mom knows that you have to hold the baby's head, and so I didn't wanna comment on it, but I'm glad you brought it up because I need to comment on it because Judgy bitch over here, we need to talk about this. OMG.
Yeah, I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like, sometimes the babies are like I'm like, "This just can't be good," and they clearly don't know, and also, they're all young.
Yeah,
They're all really young, and so they don't know, and they have a million kids, but yeah, I saw that on something, and then I went back, and I'm like, "You're right. They don't know how to hold these babies."
it's interesting that you say they don't know, because that now I never even considered that they don't know, but now that you're connecting the dots in my Friday afternoon mind, yeah, they're young, they probably don't know, but then I'm also like, there's so much crew around them, adults who film and everything, like, couldn't anyone intervene and, like, teach them, like, just for the well-being of the babies, Like, I don't
Also,
know.
they have, like, 1,000 of them. You would think they would know by now.
Yeah, I know. Marissa, we're way over time already. Bitch besties, I'm so sorry. You will have to wait another week for us to finish the season because there is so much more to talk about. And of course, we have the hottest topic of the season, Taylor and Dakota, we have to get into. So, bitch besties, come back next week. Marissa, thank you so much. I'll see you in a minute to record the rest of it. And thank you for watching. Let us know your thoughts and takes. And bye, bitch besties. Until next week. Thanks, Bitch Besties, for listening. Make sure to follow us at the Judgy Bitch Pod. And hey, spread the word. Tell your friends, your ex, your dog walker. We'd love their support. Want to be part of the show? DM us your feedback, hot takes, or unapologetic opinions. We just might read them on air. And don't forget to follow, rate, and review the pod. See you next week. Cheers, bitches.